Welcome back, everyone. It's time for episode 39 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from New York. With me, though, from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right. It's Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
It's going well. I have never been on The Price is Right. I will probably never be on The Price is Right, but I can pretend for at least the next hour or so, and that's enough for me.
Well, someone we're going to talk about a little bit later in this episode had so much fun on The Price is Right that the least you can do is pretend at this point, don't you think?
I think the individual we're going to talk about pretends a lot in his life. So yeah, I would agree with you completely.
Pretends to be hardcore, pretends to, lots of stuff.
A lot of things.
Yes, indeed. But anyway, what's going on? It's still snowing up in Portsmouth, I hear, huh?
Yeah, just a tad. It's kind of like an every other day sort of thing where it'll be fine for 12 to 36 hours, and it's like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna take another shit of a foot of powder on your fucking faces, and you can enjoy my white fecal matter. I think that's God doing that, but I can't really tell. It sucks. It sucks. The roads suck. People suck. It makes people lose their mind, whether you're taking public transportation or otherwise, as I know we've talked about. But I don't know. It's all good. I don't care. It's fine. It's just a thing I do in New England winters these days. It's routine at this point. So it's good. It's good overall. Just busy. How about you?
It feels like so long ago that you were out frolicking, having the town-wide snowball fight. Now it's just an annoyance more than anything, huh?
That was weirdly like 2 weeks ago. It wasn't even that long ago. It just snowed so much since then. But yeah, it's quickly gone from awesome to when's April. So,
Yeah. Well, we are still sitting on the same freeze, the same little bit of snow that we got during during Winter Storm Dennis Quaid.
I think I did that. I think I made that same mistake a couple weeks ago myself. So I understand.
Yeah,
it's
you
all
did.
Good.
But during Winter Storm,
Tropical Storm Dennis Quaid.
During Winter Storm Dennis Quaid, we got a little bit of snow, about 6-7 inches, and hasn't really gone anywhere. It's still just sitting there. It's been cold, but it hasn't been precipitating. So we haven't melted, but we also haven't added to our stock yet. In terms of snowfall, so whatever, it's cool. It's we're it's busy time at work, at the day job. Got some shows on the side. Got this blog and this podcast on the side, so we're keeping busy. But living life,
This should become the day job eventually. Just gonna throw that out.
God,
there.
I hope so. That'd be awesome
at some point.
That'd be awesome. Anyone out there, if you want to sponsor Horns Up and give us monies and let us do this professionally, God damn it, that'd be awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
We're begging.
Yeah. But anyway, let us move on. Let's move into our headlines for the week. Starting off with the item I alluded to earlier in the pod, in the intro. Going to talk about The Price is Right, which featured in Tuesday's episode Adam Dutkovich of Killswitch Engage, longtime guitarist and producer for the band. Was on the show, called down as a contestant. And frankly, I don't know if I've ever seen someone so excited on The Price is Right. Have you?
I haven't, but it seemed like it was all very, very not genuine at all. And I want to say those 4 words. Granted, I can't really say that because I did watch the clips, and as much as it looked like Adam D was trying to be super exuberant because it was The Price is Right, it also seems like that's probably him in normal life anyway.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know, but he seemed like a happy dude.
Yeah.
Whether it was real or not.
Dude straight up broke his mic. He was in the round of 4, the initial round. Dude broke his mic after getting the closest price in that round. Just by jumping around and screaming and bellowing. Then whenever he won after that, he would do all these enormous grunts and bellows and excitement. It was very metal or metal by Price is Right.
It was pretty funny.
Drew Carey, God love him, he kept being a good sport about it. He was just like smiling and nodding and saying like, yeah, that's the kind of guy you want to see on The Price is Right, and just random shit like that.
Yeah, right.
It was pretty hilarious. All told, Adam D won the showcase showdown at the end of the game, walked out with a new car, a new truck, a vacation, all totaling over 50 grand in prizes. Pretty good reason to get excited, I think. And you know what? I'm happy for him. It's not like metal is something you get super wealthy doing anymore. So I'm sure, you know, he could use a new truck and a new car and $50,000 worth of shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, God knows Killswitch engages to make the money. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it was kind of cool though. It was kind of cool, and I love the fact that he said hi to his dog during the
right.
wheel shit he spun, fucking whatever that thing is, to get the showcase showdown. I was just sitting waiting for him to be like, and my band Killswitch Engage, and he just never nothing, not a whisper of it.
Nah.
But I liked his hat. His hat was almost my horns up because it looked like a cheeseburger.
Right, I was gonna say. Oh man, I think he had some of the band members in the audience, so that was kind of fun too. But yeah. I watched the clips. I was laughing my ass off for a good portion of it. So, well done, Adam D. Congrats on your Price is Right winnings. This was fun for us, and I'm sure fun for you too. Moving on from this, want to talk about the latest example of Norway just doing things better than we do over here in the States. This time we're going to talk about how they reduced music piracy by 76% over the past 5 years. Now, in a recent article from Music Business Worldwide, the magazine covered a survey out of Norway, which showed that only 4% of people under 30 still use illegal file sharing platforms to consume music. This is down from almost 80% who said they did in the same survey back in 2009. Now, the reason, of course, is streaming. 80% of the people polled in the survey indicated that streaming services like Spotify are now their primary form of music consumption. Spokeswoman for the Norwegian equivalent of the RIAA, I believe it's the IFPI, maybe, said younger audiences are using streaming services to the greatest extent. When older audiences start embracing these services, we will probably see a somewhat different distribution of revenues. Hopefully, this will involve a better economy for several Norwegian artists and record companies. Now, we've talked about this before. I mean, it's well documented how everything is sort of moving towards streaming. People are doing Spotify. People are doing Google Play Music, whatever the heck they're using. Sure. But I'm kind of surprised that it had this great an effect, that it was able to lessen the illegal downloading burden by this much.
I'm with you. I'm curious how they market the industry. I'm curious about the costs associated with these subscriptions, the availability, mobily or whatever. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's just the music industry over there just utilizing the technology at hand. And I think I don't think streaming services are perfect. Personally, I use mine to find new music, and then stuff I'm really interested in, I'll go out and support, as we've talked about many times over. Albums, shows, merch, whatever you name it. I think streaming services are just a way to get introduced, but at the same time, it's obviously miles better than downloading and illegal file sharing, which was for a while just too easy not to do.
Right.
So if that's a trend, I think they're doing the right thing by embracing it, and I'm super curious. I would actually like to read up a little bit to see exactly how that market works over there, because it clearly doesn't match ours.
Right. Right. We certainly knew that this was happening over here, but I highly doubt it's at the same level. I mean, 76 percentage point reduction in that usage is pretty significant.
Astronomical. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Regardless, I mean, hell, good job, Norway. Props to you guys. We can only hope that that catches on over here. More people start paying for Spotify. I mean, I know a lot of people that are on the free Spotify accounts, but if we get a jump toward premium,
sure,
more premium accounts, I think there could be something to it. I just think it's funny though, because I look at people like Tom York going out there and crusading against Spotify and blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, they're arguing that they don't get compensated enough, and I'm like, I understand. I mean, getting what, 0.06 of a cent to 0.08 of a cent, or thousandths of a cent maybe, for each stream. Yeah, I mean that's tough. That's not a desirable amount. At the same time, for a big band like Radiohead, it's funny. The big bands like Radiohead are always the ones crying foul when they have millions and millions of streams, and they're making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars off of those streams.
Right.
Which, yeah, it's maybe not as much as they would make from record sales, but it's also a lot more than the zero they would make from illegal downloading. So
right, there's that, and there's a couple things to look at here. I mean, and Dan, we can speak to this as well as anybody, just from what we've discovered in the last year or so, less than a year, really. Some of my favorite bands I discovered thanks to Spotify in the last 10 months.
And have gone to see, and have merched for them.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right. Well, think about all the pieces at play here. Yes, you're getting a hundredth to whatever thousandth or whatever of a cent per track listener or whatever. But guess what? I would not be able to go out and buy a CD by Sayor because I would never have an opportunity to figure out who the hell they are if it wasn't for streaming services. It's just that simple. And what I do, I discovered them on a streaming service, and they got their couple cents from me for listening to their album once or twice on Spotify. I bought the CD. I investigated. I invested some time and effort into listening to them. And you're right. These bigger bands, yeah, they're going to cry foul. But these smaller bands are all of a sudden have an ability to enter the market because their music is now accessible when it never was before. So I don't care how minimal the profit or the revenue is from these streaming services. It used to just be zero. These bands just could not exist. And for bands like Radiohead or Metallica or whoever wants to cry foul with these things, how much do you actually make off CD sales these days? Next to nothing anyway. Cut the shit and grow up. Like, give me a fucking break. You make next to nothing off album sales. It's all off merch and tours. Come on. Right.
Well, and I think it's funny because you see younger artists that are embracing Spotify and that are using it for these kinds of reasons, for the hope that people like us will see them and it'll get their name out there and blah 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 blah. Which is how I discovered Kvelertak, which is how I discovered Foals, stuff like that.
The Legion.
Yeah, exactly. And yet the super successful ones are the ones bitching. I don't know. Complain on, kids. Complain on. I want to correct myself, by the way. I believe I said earlier 6 to 8.5 thousandths of a cent. That's not true. It's actually tenths. It's 6 to 8.5 thousandths of a dollar, which because math becomes 6 to 8.5 tenths of a cent per stream.
So between half a cent and a cent they get per stream, which whatever.
I can't do decimal places. I'm sorry. I haven't done math since college. I mean, come on, guys. But anyway, regardless, we're off on a tangent here. But good job, Norway, getting that music piracy down. 4%. That's
yes.
Cause for celebration. Speaking of things that revolve around music sales, the Grammys were this past week. I was proud of myself. I only tuned in for. I know you didn't watch it. The damn thing. His performance and then
none percent.
Right. I only tuned in for AC/DC's performance and then the occasional bits and pieces when I would leave my room to go to the bathroom, which is a sharp reversal from last year. I watched a lot of it last year, but I think it was also a better show last year. But yeah, bits and pieces. I saw the Kanye West, Rihanna, Paul McCartney collaboration, which I thought was actually pretty solid. I heard that Jeff Lynne from ELO performed, so I went back and watched that, and he did Evil Woman, which was excellent. The dude is 67, and he sounds fantastic. But tangent. Something I didn't see because they didn't show it on TV because fuck the Grammys was the Best Metal Performance Award, which turns out I didn't miss all that much because it went to Tenacious D. I was kind of hoping they would do something not shitty for a change and give it to a deserving band like Mastodon. Wouldn't you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but let's clear one thing up real quick. Mastodon, I would have loved to have seen it win it out of the eligible parties. I don't necessarily think they're the best metal performance of the year, but yeah,
but of the 5 nominated, cool yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, let's be real here. They're not going to get Panopticon or Thantaffaxa up at the Grammys. But Mastodon did not win. But even if they had, guitarist Brent Hines would not have been there to collect his award. Dude apparently spent the entire pre-show fucking around with reporters on the red carpet, joking around during interviews, just being as irreverent as the Grammys deserve, including one hilarious interview that was picked up by Pitchfork. I don't know if I believe you watched this.
Of course I did.
Yeah. And the Grammys eventually said they had enough and kicked him out. Now, during this interview with Pitchfork, Brent pretended to be a member of the LA Dodgers. He pretended to be a fashion advisor for Bron Daler, who was also in the interview. It was amazing. Now, in addition to these interviews, Brent Hines and Bron Daler also showed up to the ceremony in some sort of odd costumes. Corey, do you want to tell the folks out there what Brent and Bron were wearing to the Grammys? Because it was kind of the best.
Well, Brent, we already talked about his LA Dodgers. It was completely the best. And Brent showed up in, I don't want to say a LA Dodgers jersey because that wouldn't be correct. It was the entire LA Dodgers ensemble. Shirt, pants, the whole deal. He even had like
full uniform,
athletic shoes on. It was hilarious. And he worked it too. He's like, I just got back from practice last night. I'm a little tired.
We played a doubleheader. I only hit home runs.
I only hit home runs. Yeah. Did you hit any home runs? I only hit home runs.
Yeah. But then meanwhile, Bron had a bit of a different getup. He had on what he called his birthday suit, which was just a full suit, jacket, pants, you name it, with a series of balloons embroidered into the fabric. A design like entirely, it was all balloons. He had ridiculous striped socks on. It was just they gave zero fucks. It was wonderful. I probably watched this interview.
As somebody that wears a suit for a living, I need to acquire a suit similarly and just wear it on my birthday because it would be amazing.
Yeah. These guys are the best. I really don't know how else to say it. They handled this Grammy nonsense exactly as you should. Props to them.
Yep.
Tenacious D can have their Grammy, but Mastodon won the evening, I think. So,
agreed.
Moving on from that, that'll wrap up our headlines for the week. I have a concert review. Now, Corey, you were thinking about maybe doing a concert. You did not end up going, did you?
That is correct. I was incapacitated around 3 to 4 p.m. on Saturday in downtown Portsmouth with a friend of mine. And when push came to shove, I would like to have seen those situations. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen those situations through the rest of the evening rather than go down to see a Napalm Death show, which, again, nothing against them. It was just in Worcester, which is a long-ass fuck drive. It was cold. It was miserable out. It was going to be snowing again, and I was probably would have gotten a DUI had I tried to go down. Anyway, but I guess I missed a little bit of the show. Apparently, a bat broke in to the Palladium and interrupted Napalm Death set, which, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. That did happen, and I read about it the next day and I got all the enjoyment out of it without having to drive 3 hours round trip.
There you go.
Just saying.
There you go. Plus, a little incapacitation is always worth it.
Just wait. Awkward. Behemoth is soon, Dan. Behemoth is soon.
Awkward. Anyway, well, in that case, I am going to talk about Eyehategod, who came to St. Vitus about a week ago. They played Friday and Saturday nights. I went to the Friday show. Was hoping to see Mortals open and a couple of other bands. I unfortunately did not make it there to the venue until about 11:30, right as Eyehategod was getting underway. Now, I will cop right now. I am not the biggest Eyehategod fan. I don't know a ton of their song titles, but listened to a lot of the new record last year, so I recognize they played a couple of tunes from that. They played Agitation Propaganda, which was all I wanted to hear. I love the hell out of that song. That's the lead song from the last year's self-titled record. And
Right.
yeah, they sounded amazing. Mike was fantastic on the vocals. Jimmy, just riffing it out like a madman. It was a terrific show. Again, sorry I couldn't have seen the opening bands, but from what I did see, it was well worth the price of admission. So, I Hate God, Saint Vitus. They played 2 nights. I believe Metal Injection posted full set footage from both nights. So check those out. And yeah, next time they come around your way, I highly recommend it. Moving on, we've got some new releases this week to talk about. Now, I know you are for the blog. You're reviewing Thulcandra later this week, their new record, Ascension Lost. Have you had a chance to listen to it yet, or is this something for later in the week? Should I leave that till the review goes live?
Nope. I can discuss briefly. I've given it 1 or 2 spins, and I think it's awesome. I really do. It's interesting because naturally, Stefan, I believe he pronounces his name, he had some work in like Obscura and shit. So I wasn't sure what that kind of obscure influence would be on this thing, and quite frankly, it's aside from the band being from Munich, it's nil. It's a really, really nice blend of a lot of the traditional black metal themes and a lot of your more traditional melodic death metal themes. It flows really nicely throughout. There's some really straightforward tracks on here. I think of the opening track, which is The First Rebellion. It's probably the epic of the album. Actually, it is the epic of the album. It's just over 7 hours, or 7 minutes and 15 seconds, I should say. And it
7 hours.
Could you imagine a 7-hour long song? Holy shit! Holy
Jesus.
shit, that'd be amazing.
I mean, it's not Sun. Come on.
Yeah, Christ almighty, no kidding. Yeah, so it's a 7 minute and 20-second long track, The First Rebellion. It definitely, they do a lot on it. Time changes, the whole deal. It rises and falls, blah, 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 all that bullshit. It's cool. You get some more straightforward tracks like Throne of Will. Demigod Imprisoned is kind of like the ass kicker on the album. As a whole, the thing is broken in half almost. There's an interlude after the first 4 tracks, and an outro obviously to round everything off. So it's a nice 4-song section, a break, and then another 4-song section and a break. And I just think it's really well put together. I do. I mean, it's if somebody asked me if you could compose or conceive a black metal album that listens like a melodic death metal album, it'd be this, and it's great. I love it. Again, I'm going to keep going through it a few more times. You'll get my review on the blog, actually, the same day we air on Friday. But yeah, it's a tremendous listen. I enjoy the shit out of it so far.
Excellent.
Have you gotten a chance to kind of take a peek at it yet?
I have not. I have been balls deep in the 2 albums I'm going to discuss tonight, one of which I know you've listened to at the very least. I don't know about the other, but more black metal.
I've listened to both.
Not Thulcandra's. But yeah, it's
Yep.
definitely it's on my list for sure.
Sweet. Yeah. So Thulcandra, Ascension Lost, do that stuff, I guess.
Yeah. I am going to get into real quick. I mentioned I have 2 albums to cover. Now, my 2 that I listened to for tonight are same genre, both black metal, and the same record label, Fallen Empire Records, who is off to a hell of a start this month and this year. So I'm going to talk about them together, and then I know you have another one you want to get into as well from late last week. The 2 albums I want to get into from Fallen Empire are, first off, Hæthen's Shaped by Aeolian Winds. Now, this is the debut full-length from a Philly-based black metal trio. And this thing is just fantastic. You guys probably saw my review earlier this week. I was all about this. This was this album was 5 years in the making. The guys put out a demo called Wanderer back in 2009, and really were just kind of working on this thing ever since. This is and it really sounds like the product of 5 years of work. You've got your bitingly cold traditional black metal sounds, but then you've also got a number of outside influences, whether it's like ambient stuff. So you hear an ambient side in the middle of one of the epics, Fragments of Spectral Uncertainty. Now it starts off with 3 minutes of aggression, and then it gets into 3 minutes of just calm, experimental, haunting stuff. Really just fascinating song. And then it gets back into a heavy side, which is just, it's a really nice rise and fall to that song. I think the title track is a really cool pace changing instrumental. There's a song called "In the Absence of the Eternal," which, for my money, might be the best thing here. I think it sums up where they're at perfectly. They do the black metal stuff well, but then they also throw these outside influences in, and it's a really to the level where it just kind of feels natural. They start not to feel like outside influences. And I got to give Phaedrus, vocalist and guitarist Phaedrus, a shout out as well. Dude's growl it's not really even a growl per se. It's more like a whisper. It kind of reminds me of John Hamm from Agalloch. It's sinister, yet there's something so quiet about it and powerful all the same. So yeah, Hæthen, Shaped by Aeolian Winds. It's out now on Fallen Empire Records. Really, really highly recommend it. Do not miss out for the Philly Trio's full-length debut. Now, the other one I want to talk about, also on Fallen Empire, is one by Misthyrming. And this is, I am not even going to try to pronounce, yes, I am going to try and pronounce it because I have to, but I'm going to fail miserably. This is Songvar Els Oredu. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Now, these guys are from Iceland.
Iceland.
Yes. We love things from Iceland, don't we? We sure do.
Yes, we fucking do.
And Misthyrming is just the latest to that. These guys follow, I don't want to say an identical template to Hæthen, but similar mix of sounds. You get more traditional black metal influences. You get some outside ambient influences. But whatever they're going into, it always feels more raw or more eerie, more everything. I mean, the aggressive parts are louder and more raucous, and the quieter parts are just that much more creepy. I don't always know if that's a good thing. I prefer the sort of I don't know, maybe you want to call it watered down by comparison version that Hæthen did, but this is still a very, very good record. We've got tremendous songs like Songar Hæftar, the lead track, Frostauden, just incredible stuff throughout. I'm very much a fan of this. Now, did you get to listen to these at all? Do you have a preference one way or the other? Which one rubbed you the right way, I guess? Rubbed you better? I can't talk tonight.
Well,
rubbed you the right way, rubbed you better. Which one rubbed you better, Corey?
Well, they both rubbed me. That might be a little weird, but they did both rub me. There's no question about it. I actually enjoyed both of them. I really did. I invested in both of them. They both earned my approval. Hæthen, I definitely took to a little bit more, but I think Misthyrming, or however you want to fucking pronounce it, seems to be more of a grower. Like you said, yeah, it's more abrasive. It's a little more sinister sounding, and I'm going to need to give it a little more time, but they're both tremendous records, dude. Like, these were two that kind of took me off guard this past weekend. I freaking loved them both. No question about it. Just awesome listens through and through.
These were albums that I will admit I wasn't planning on covering this week. I hadn't heard of. I couldn't plan on covering them because I hadn't heard them, but a couple people were mentioning. I think I want to give a shout out to our buddy Tom DeGroot on the Twitter. Was talking about these guys and dug into them. Gave him a listen on Bandcamp and immediately paid and downloaded because it was fantastic stuff. So both Hæthen and Misthyrming. Good, solid dose of black metal this week from Fallen Empire Records. Highly recommend both. Now, as I mentioned before, you have one carried over from last week that you were really into. I kind of liked it as well. Let's talk about Demonpire and their self-titled debut, Demonpire. What'd you think of this one?
I liked it. I'm going to start with a little bit of background here. I was kind of, and Dan, you can understand where I'm coming from here because I pissed you off enough through my ramblings about frustration and annoyance about the fact that I couldn't find Dødsfall's Kosmakt, which also came out last week. I couldn't find it anywhere at all. So I was.
They may not actually exist.
I don't think they do. All I wanted was some new Norwegian black metal and fucking blow me, internet. Anyway, so I was kind of, checking out some other stuff. What's new? What's happening? Oh, Demonpire, the guys from As Silence Breaks. Let's see what they're up to these days. And shit, I liked it. I did a lot. So
these guys are from out in Australia, right?
Right, exactly. As Silence Breaks was a band, death metal band ish, from Australia. I never really got into them. They kind of came and went. I mean, they went on some pretty big international tours with all kinds of, well-known death metal band names. I think Soilwork was thrown in there and a few others. But I never got into them. I just, for one, I wasn't as in tune to, some of the more obscure bands out there. And also, I don't know, shit, dude, it's before my time, really, as far as this goes. And they came back and they formed Demonpire, which to me was just, for one, it was the whole album was mastered by Jens Borgen, the guy that does Soilwork, Catatonia, The Ocean, so on and so forth.
Name it, he's mastered them.
Yeah, exactly. And so I should have known that there was going to be some good stuff coming, and there is. It's a tremendous blend of, I guess your more straightforward death metal themes and influences with a fantastic technical side to it. Not quite as technical as like a Legion does things or Origin, but enough to kind of give it a different spin. And I was hooked from the beginning. I think of the Nihilist Inside and how it moved into the Veil of the Martyr. It's just a 40-second intro, but the way it moves just so abrasively into Veil of the Martyr is awesome. I mean, I could just imagine being at a show and just seeing this ridiculous wall of death to it, for lack of a better way to put that. And I don't know, it's really cool. I mean, there's a lot of really nice. It's got a nice groovy element to it, almost like a Meshuggah groove. And again, they keep the technical side there. The musicianship is just top notch. Great solo work. Great melodics. I don't know, dude. Just through and through, I really liked it. It was a nice surprise that I wasn't expecting. Honestly, I picked it up as just another album to listen to that week, and yeah, through and through, I was impressed. I really was. Nothing but good things to say. Really, it's
good
worth
stuff.
checking out. Yeah, you can stream the whole thing for free, so people should just, do it.
Give it a listen. Yeah, it's on Spotify. I did give it a listen as well. I don't think I was quite as into it as you are, but it had its moments. I got to say, I liked The Veil of the Martyr, Courage Burns Brightest, stuff like that. The early songs. I think there was another one in the middle called The Usurper of Hope that I liked.
That was awesome, yeah.
Yeah. Some good stuff from the Aussies. Again, the band is Demonpire. The album is also Demonpire. It's a self-titled album, and it is out now. So Spotify, do whatever you need to do. It's a fun listen, I will say. That'll wrap us up for reviews this week. Again, we, as I mentioned before, we have a ton of other stuff on the blog. Manny Award did, or Zach, I'm just going to call him Zach. Hi, Zach. We betrayed your identity. We're sorry. Zach did a Taka review. He did a review of a band called Generic Christ, which has gotten a ton of hits on the blog so far. I can't.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean,
honestly,
props to Zach and props to Generic Christ.
Don't even read. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. Read the review, obviously, but if nothing else, just at least open the link to see that amazing album artwork.
Oh, that album
it's
artwork
amazing.
is...
It's the best. Just look at it, everybody. You won't be happy. I don't think. If you are, that's kind of
you'll be something, but happy isn't.
It's a kick
isn't it?
either way. So at least do that.
Yeah, definitely. Zach did those two. Joy did Call of the Void and a split from Keeper and Sea Bastard. We've got a couple more coming out before the end of the week, so check them out. It's hornsupmetalshow.com for the blog, so make sure you stop by. That'll wrap up reviews for the week. Let's move into our final segment. Let's do Horns Up and Horns Down. Starting off with Horns Up. Corey, what do you got this week?
Well, I was going to talk about space because I like space a lot, but space is also really big, so I'm not going to talk about space right now. I'll talk about space some other time.
It was the most circular introduction ever.
Mission accomplished. Shit. Anywho, I'm actually going to talk about, and I can actually thank Many a War or Zach if you would prefer, I guess, Dan. It turns out that, well, not turns out, but I discovered this past week that he, much like me, is a quite a big hockey fan, which of course is just the best as far as I'm concerned. I mean, hockey and metal go together like things that go together. I knew somebody was going to say something stupid.
It's funny. I really just cannot stand the movie Big Daddy, but I will always circle back to that line.
Exactly.
They go together like lamb and tuna fish.
Yeah. But anyway, he introduced me to this clothing line, actually, which I believe was started by Sheldon Surrey, who, a previous NHL defenseman, now retired, I assume, because he's now making clothes. Sure. He came out with this brand of clothing called Violent Gentleman, which, actually, if I'm not mistaken, Zach wore some of their apparel to when you guys met up that one time, whenever the fuck that was. I don't really give a shit.
Might have been. I can't remember.
Yeah. So he turned me on to him, and he's like, you should probably check these out. And I did, and there's some really cool stuff. And, within about 3 minutes, I bought a shirt that simply says Violent Gentleman Enforce Detroit. Because Red Wings are the best, and because I'm into things that say Violent Gentleman on them, because
of course you are.
Right. They make some really cool stuff, and you know me, I like my weird-ass indie clothing lines. So I just got to give a shout to Sheldon Surrey, or whoever the hell is fronting this whole thing, for coming up with a really cool brand and some cool designs that I will be investing money in probably more frequently than I should going forward. But hey, what the hell? Better than the Gap.
Yeah, this is true. I think actually Violent Gents is Zach's avatar on WordPress, now that I think about it.
Actually, that sounds right.
Yeah. So good stuff. I'll have to look into that. I didn't know that was a thing. I just thought that was something actually he had come up with. So very cool. Props to Mr. Soray. And
yeah, I did too. And he's like, yeah.
Is his name Soray? Is his name Soray, or is it Sor and you're just saying A at the end of it?
No, it's Soray. It's Souray. I understand the A because Canada and hockey and stuff, but right, it's actually Souray.
That's the joke I was making, yeah.
And honestly, he may not even be the one behind this. That's just what that's the name that rings a bell. So I'm going with it, and I'm not fucking changing my mind right now. So all props to Sheldon Surrey for something he may or may not have done, but at the very mind is at the front of my mind. So go
You're getting credit for it whether you want it or not.
Exactly. Deal with it, sir.
Oh man.
Oh god. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
that's what. Yep.
Very cool. Well, my horns up. I'm going to talk about. I remember a couple weeks ago, you called out one of my habits for a horns up. So I'm going to do the same thing tonight. Corey,
Jesus,
you went and joined Twitter. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy you're on the Twitter now.
I need to call a fucking timeout right now. Am I on Twitter? You're damn fucking right I'm on Twitter. Mr. CM Butterworth, blow me world. Number 2, did I join Twitter? Fuck no. Did somebody join me to Twitter or something? Yes. And once again, Zach comes up in our conversation. I'm sitting at work. He's like, you're this now. I'm just like, I don't know what that means, but sounds good. And then I have a Twitter account. And I don't know.
You're this now.
Pretty much. And I went with it, and yeah, I'm on Twitter, and I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'm just gonna use as far as right now goes, bombard the world with horns up related things because I don't really give a shit if the world knows what I'm thinking, to be completely honest. But the world always needs more horns up, so it's going to get it. But yes, I am on Twitter
at Mr. CM Butterworth. Yeah, give him a follow. Speaking of which, we got to get Zach on here at some point. We got to get him on the podcast. It's
well, he'd come up in 3 straight stories. It would make sense.
Yeah, I think so. So, anyway, good set of horns up for the week. I'm going to lead off with horns down because I just have been sort of thinking about this all day. Not out of sadness, but out of, okay, like, where do we go from here-ness? By now, I'm sure most of you guys will be aware. Tuesday night, Jon Stewart announced that he was going to be leaving The Daily Show later this year, which is weird for me because he's been the anchor of The Daily Show for
ever
16 years. Yeah, something like that. 16 years. He's the only person I've ever known on The Daily Show. I mean, yeah, I know they had Craig Kilborn on him before that, but I didn't watch Comedy Central. I didn't know who Craig Kilborn or what The Daily Show was. In my Daily Show watching years, it's always ever been Jon Stewart. So it's strange to think that he'll be leaving. I'm not going to pretend I'm not going to miss the guy, but I think Comedy Central has a really cool opportunity here in terms of like finding their replacement for him.
Yeah.
It's like, who do they go with? Do they go with someone on the show? Do they go with an outsider? Time Magazine, I believe, suggested Aisha Tyler, who does the voice of Lana on Archer, which would be fantastic.
That'd be amazing.
I would be all about that. But I don't know. There's a couple people on the current show that I think would be great. Asif Manvi, Jessica Williams. I mean, they have a good opportunity here to get something new in and really continue carrying it forward. So, yeah, that's my horns down. Obviously, going to miss Jon Stewart, but we'll see what happens with it. I guess we're not sure yet when he's going to actually be leaving, but yeah, keep an eye out. Comedy Central. What about you, Corey? What do you got?
Dude, I gotta shit. I mean, things are good, but I gotta talk about it. I gotta fucking talk about, frankly, the fucking weather keeping me from Boston and lifeical activities. Because I don't think there's that word again. I don't think people actually understand how bad it's been. The MBTA had to shut down 3 times in the past 9 days. It has shut down 1 time in the previous 5 years. That bad. No public transportation in Boston. No subways, no trains from the suburbs, no buses, nothing. 6 feet of snow right now, which is 30 inches above the annual average or seasonal average.
6 feet?
6 feet. There's 6 feet sitting there right now because the thing is it snowed and then it's just been super cold. So it hasn't gone anywhere.
Jeez.
And at this point, about 40 to 50% of the trains, like the subway lines, are actually running right now, which is causing 2-hour backups for commuters getting from their stop to wherever they work. The Orange Line, which is the one I take when I go to Boston, from either Haymarket or North Station or you name it, one train, and it connects the busiest parts of town with the biggest financial area of town. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. It's one train, and if you take it from point to point, it's over a 2-hour long ride. It's a disaster right now, and obviously things are back up and running today. But what the fuck difference does it make? Shit's got to get figured out. It really does. And of course, I say that it's going to snow, or it has been snowing for the last 24 hours as we're posting this podcast on our blog, and it's going to be snowing again in about 24 hours for another 4 to 6 inches or whatever it's going to be. It's getting insane, dude. This is actually ridiculous. Boston used up its snow removal budget after snowstorm number 2, and we're at like 4 at this point.
Oh my god.
It's really, really fucking bad.
Am I going to even be able to get up there for Behemoth at the end of the month?
Well, you're taking...
I mean, it seems ridiculous to be worried about, seeing as we have like a full 2 weeks, but it might not be that ridiculous a thing to think about.
Are you doing Bolt Bus or a train?
I'm doing Bolt Bus.
Oh, dude, they'll just drive on top of that snow. On top of that shit, you'll be fine.
Okay, am I going to make it up there alive? There's the question.
Well, see, that's what you should have asked the first time. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's actually been pretty crazy. I mean, things are a little better as of right now, but like I said, it means next to nothing. It's just super frustrating. I need my days in Boston to keep me sane. I need my Boston for shows. I need my Boston for just goddamn sanity. And it's just the Mother Nature's just being a super kick in the dick right now. And if we would just let up for a week or two, that'd just be fucking wonderful. So I gotta bitch about it a little bit more. That's my horns down. Everything else is fine. It's the damn weather. I'm from England apparently.
Well, I think that's as good a horns down as any. But yeah, hopefully it warms up for you guys soon. I mean, I can imagine this is going to turn into The Shining, except for a whole city.
Oh god, yeah, exactly. That'd be terrifying.
Here's Portsmouth.
Oh, things are fine here. I just, I can still get my alcohol, which is all that matters. That sounded really alcoholic of me.
Just a bit. Well, anyway, that will about wrap up Horns Up and Horns Down, and that will about wrap up our show. This has been episode 39. Reminder for you guys, visit the Horns Up blog for our reviews, our recurring content, you name it, it's all there. hornsupmetalshow.com. Tell all your friends. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are facebook.com/hornsuppodcast, Twitter and Instagram @hornsuppodcast. You can subscribe to the Horns Up podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Podbean, you name it, we're there. Check it out. Tell your friends to do the same. We love your listenership. And that'll about do it. This has been episode 39. Thank you guys, as always, for stopping by. And remember, live,
love,
plow,
horns up.
We'll see you next week.